Hello everybody and welcome to the month of March and welcome to our practice for this month. So speaking from the Northern Hemisphere point of view, and I'm talking obviously a lot from the UK point of view, so please just work in whatever is happening for you with your weather where you are, what's happening for you seasonally. But we're still in that in-between Pisces season, and we're still in between late winter and early spring. So what I have noticed in my body the last couple of weeks is that we have those beautiful sunny, fresh spring days, and then it's followed by a lot of damp, a lot of rain, a lot of cold, even kind of getting into that frosty weather. So this, for me, has been having an effect on my immune system, my nervous system, and I felt a little bit run down, a bit sniffly and very, very stiff in my body. So in terms of Ayurveda practice, the time that we're in right now is a kapha season. So this is the qualities of, damp, it's cold, it's that in between, as I've talked about, in between winter and spring. And so what we really need to focus on in our body is keeping warm, keeping particularly the center part of our body warm, working with things like herbs and spices that are going to help get rid of that damp from the body. So things like ginger and cinnamon are wonderful at this time of year for just helping to keep the body warm, helping to boost and support the immune system as well. And in terms of our yoga practice, it's really nice to think of that. So keeping warm whilst we're moving, looking at postures that are going to help to bring that fresh air, that prana into the body. So when we're looking at kapha season, we're trying to help with that damp and that cold that's in the body from this seasonal time. So one of the things that is really important and helpful is pranayama practices, so breathing practices where we are getting that fresh prana, fresh energy into the body, moving it into places where there's that stagnation, where there's that dampness, where there's cold. So in our session for this month, that is what we're going to be doing. We're going to be doing a little bit of maintenance. So if you have been feeling really stiff and tight in the body, we're going to do some mobility work. We're going to concentrate a lot on the breath, getting breath into those spaces of the body, trying to get away from that damp. We're also going to be looking at kind of keeping the body warm, so doing lots of lovely things with warming up the hands and placing our hands on parts of the body. So as always, we're going to begin with our relaxation so that we can start the practice from a place of neutrality, so that we can let go of distractions and really start to set aside this time for ourselves. Okay, so however you would like to take Shavasana, I would recommend being really wrapped up, as we've talked about, with the cold and the damp of this season. So socks. You can have a blanket on the base of your mat if your mat is cold. Sometimes when we pull our mats out of wherever they've been stored, they can be very cold. Not so nice for the back line of our body. So feel free to place a blanket on your mat and then a blanket on top of you as well. You can bring some bed pillows, or if you've got a yoga bolster, under the knees, and maybe something for under the head, pillow or a block. And then when you're ready, let's lie ourselves down, supporting the head. Arms out to the sides, palms facing up. And then just have a little wriggle. Moving the hips, we're going to shuffle the shoulders. And then beginning to find a place of stillness. I'm just sitting myself back up so that I can guide you and speak a little bit more into the microphone. So when you're ready, closing the eyes. And allowing yourself to arrive here on your mat. Letting go of distractions as best as you can. Giving yourself permission to have this next hour of time that is just for you. So we can let go of our problem-solving mind. We can move from that yang energy of doing into the yin energy of being. And then start to shift your awareness onto your breath. And what we can do to begin with is simply pay attention to the breath. So become present to the experience of your breathing. So paying attention to that rise on the inhale and that fall on the exhale. Noticing where the breath moves to on the inhale. And noticing how long the exhalation is. And then without force, we start to invite some deeper and longer breaths into the body. So as we inhale, we feel the belly expand. So really allow your body here to take up space. So we soften through the belly, this area where we tend to grip and store a lot of tension. And on the exhales, let's allow a really lovely audible sigh. So we inhale down into the belly to create space and expansion. Exhales, audible sighs, releasing with every exhale. So every inhale, we are bringing spaciousness into the body. And every exhale, we are letting go of all that no longer serves. So this month we have the spring equinox taking place. So spring equinox represents established spring. It is a moment of balance when we have equal day to night. And then from this point, we will begin to experience longer days, warmer days, and the continuation of this growth. So more flowers, more green, more sunshine. I want you to think about that with your breath here at the beginning. So as you continue these lovely spacious belly breaths and these lovely releasing exhales, I want you to be feeling that sense of breathing in spring and letting go, breathing out winter. So we are preparing ourselves for the arrival of the spring equinox. Thinking about what spring means to you. What are you stepping forward into? What are you wanting to welcome in to your life over the next coming months? And what about the winter and your winter self would you like to leave behind? Okay, bringing one hand now to the heart and one hand to the belly. Closing the mouth if that feels okay. And just integrating those deeper breaths now so that they're not so exaggerated with those exhales, so we don't need to sigh the breath out anymore. And just finding a more spacious rhythm to the breath. Setting an intention for your practice. And this intention is personal to you. And then we're going to open the eyes. We're going to release the hands back down by our sides. So if you've got your cushions underneath your knees, what we're going to do from this position is just walk your feet up onto those props. So cushions or your bolster. And then just start from there. You can either stay there just with the knees in towards you a little bit, or you can start to bring your knees a little bit closer in, maybe just holding there. Or you can take your hands to the tops of the knees or the shins and just start to rock from side to side. And then we're going to create some circles now with the lower back. So slowly circling the hips in one direction and then the other. You can place your left foot down to the bolster or the floor, and then we're going to extend the right leg up. Now this doesn't have to be straight, we can just gently take hold of the back of the thigh, and we're just going to start to rotate through the right foot. So again, if we go a few times one way and then a few times the other way. And then we're going to draw that leg in and swap to the other side. So left leg in, extending the leg up, hands gently to the back of the left thigh, and then we're going to rotate. And then the other way. Okay. Bringing both legs down now, just pushing the bolster away. Bringing the feet about hip width apart, feet onto the mat, arms a little bit out to the sides, and then we're just going to slowly take the legs knees from one side to the other. Okay, allowing them to fall to one side and then turn your head the opposite way. We'll just pause there for a couple of breaths. Okay, gently and slowly transitioning to the other side. Head in the opposite direction. Breathing into the belly, breathing into the hips here. Back through to center. Nice. Just lifting the hips up and down a couple of times. And then we're going to roll completely over to whichever side feels easiest. And then we're going to slowly bring ourselves up. Now from here, we're going to come into another reclined position, but we're going to need some props for this. So the practice is going to be, the sequence that we're going to do is going to involve creating this movement. If I show you from the side, this is what we're going to be doing when we're on our back. So we're going to have the arms up above us with the palms together. We're going to be opening them out to the side and bending them, and then we're going to be almost swimming them back together. So we're going to be lifting the arms up towards the ceiling, which they'll be in a minute. Opening them out to the side. Sorry about my voice, I say I was run down. And then swimming them back together and lifting up. So if you want to have a little go at doing that, so arms out to the side, bending the arms, bringing them in and forward. Now, depending on how open you feel in the back of the heart, you are welcome to do this without many props if you feel like that is going to be easier for you. So one thing that you could do is roll up a blanket rather than using a bolster. So taking a blanket, rolling it into a sausage shape, placing it behind you. You might also want something for the head, perhaps a block here. Okay, and then you can bring yourself onto that. And then you're going to be doing that. So you're here, we're opening the arms out, we're bringing them together, we're reaching up, opening out, bringing them together. So this is a really lovely sequence because what it's helping us to do, it's helping us to take these horizontal breaths, so getting more of that air, prana, into our lungs, which we need at the moment, but also it's mobilizing the shoulders, helping to open up through the thoracic spine, bring mobility and space here. So there's lots of things going on in this sequence. So if you want a little bit more, as I mentioned, you don't have to have the blanket. You can use a bolster. Now it can be bed pillows that are a little bit flatter, or if you've got a larger bolster, so we'll make it a bit more intense, so just be aware. You're actually going to bring yourself completely up onto the bolster. So my hips are on the bolster as well. And this is where I realise you're going to need some support for the head. So it could be 2 blocks, it could be another pile of cushions. Okay, so we're up. That's much better. Okay, so support for the head. We're on the bolster. Now, we're all going to begin this movement together, whether you're using a blanket, your bed pillows, or a bolster. Make sure that your hips feel happy, your feet are planted firmly into the floor for support, palms are together, arms are reaching up. We're going to inhale, taking the arms out to the side, bending the arms, scooping the palms together, and as we exhale, push up towards the ceiling. Inhaling, opening out. Exhaling, and then just keep going now with the pace of your own breath. Really focusing on that horizontal breath on the inhale. And as you exhale, gently drawing the belly in, squeezing the breath out. Three more rounds in your own time. Okay. Finishing with your palms up, we're going to just hold in that position. So reaching the palms up towards the ceiling. And then we're going to open out and we're going to hold there. So the elbows are bent and we're squeezing the shoulders towards each other, the shoulder blades towards each other. Breathing nice deep breaths into the ribs, into the chest. And then from there, if you then reach your arms behind you, we've still got them bent, cactus arms we call these, palms facing up. And then we're going to do the movement, drawing the fingertips towards each other above the head. Inhale. Exhale as we squeeze them as far down as feels okay. So we inhale up. Exhale down. Inhaling up. Exhaling down. A few more rounds like this, so moving at your own pace. Last one. Well done. And let's just rest our hands onto our tummy. And take an inhale together through the nose and a nice big out the mouth. So coming out of this position, so if you're using a blanket or cushions, it would be easy to roll to the side. If you're up onto the bolster like I am, I would actually just bring your hands underneath you and take your time coming up from that position that way, just to make it a little bit kinder. Okay, sitting just for a second, let's roll through the shoulders. And the other way. Okay, we're going to come into another shape now for chest opening, and then after that we're going to start moving into some side lying positions to help open up through the side body. So again, you can use your bolster. We're going to turn it sideways towards the top of the mat this time, and you can have blocks behind you, or you can have a cushion for your head. So I'm probably going to do cushion here. So for this one, and this can be your sausage blanket or it can be a bed pillow. It doesn't have to be a bolster. This might be too strong. Okay, so see how you go, see how you feel. You can do this position with the legs straight or you can do it with the legs bent. I would recommend coming in with bent knees and then you can see if you want to stretch them long. So we're going to line up the bolster or whatever you're using with the sort of bra strap area of the back, so back of the shoulders. We're going to then drape ourselves over so our head needs to be in contact with something. So actually for me, because my back is so tight at the moment, I need a bit more height. So bringing a block underneath. And then your arms could be cactused or you can have them out to the side. Okay, and then you can assess with the legs, do you want to have them extended? And they can just be relaxed. We're going to close our eyes. And then in this position, we're just going to let gravity do the work here. So the props are supporting us. And we're just going to allow that spaciousness into the ribs, into the thoracic spine. Try and let the tops of the shoulders be nice and soft away from the ears. A nice deep breath. Okay, last couple of breaths. And then if you bring your arms up, bring your knees in if you had your legs long, and then just shuffle your hips so that you can then turn onto your side and press yourself up. Okay, and then again, if we sit for a minute and just roll the shoulders. Okay, so we can actually keep the shape of these props for our next position, but what I would get you to do is have some support for between the legs here as well. So this could be another blanket that you're going to use folded, and see how you go. Sometimes for me, when I'm in a sideline position, it sort of hurts my hip a little bit to be just on the floor. So you might also want to bring some padding underneath this right hip, because we're going to go onto our right side first. So we're going to bring the blanket between the legs. So we've got our legs bent and a bit of padding between. We're now going to drape ourselves over the bolster or whatever you're using. And we're going to do that using this part of the body. So that kind of under the armpit side of the ribs area. Okay, so you might want to shuffle down enough to be able to reach your arm long. So I'm going to do that. So going towards the bottom of your mat, we're going to bring, like I said, underneath, so up below armpit, rib cage area. So over whatever props you're using, we're going to slide the right arm long, and then you're going to bring in your support for underneath the head. So we want the head to be completely relaxed. Now, if actually that feels just way too much already, you can place your left fingertips to the floor or your bolster, or you can have a go at reaching the arm up and over. So now the fingertips of the left hand are on the floor behind you. Okay, and then we're going to breathe into the left ribs, breathe into the left hip. So again, we're really focusing here on getting air, prana, fresh breath into these spaces of the body that are tight and stagnant in late winter. Okay, we're going to release the top arm. Bring your left fingertips to the top of your left shoulder, and we're just going to do some circles here with the elbow. Yeah, bringing your left hand down to the floor and then using that to support you as you lift yourself up. And then we're going to do that on the other side. So for you guys, you're just going to turn and do it on the other side. I'm going to just swap things around so that you can still see me rather than me having my back to you. Okay, so other side, you might need to readjust your blanket if it's come out from between the legs. So we're lining up underside, so rib under the ribs, sliding the left arm long, head is resting down. Option to stay just with the fingers resting on the bolster, or you can start to bring your right arm up and over. Okay, so again with this position, with the props, we're letting gravity do a lot of the work here. So as we let the body get heavy, that pressure is creating a really nice, almost like trigger point experience underneath the shoulder on that left hand side. And then that lengthening of the top arm is helping us to breathe space between the ribs of the right hand side. So breathing space into those intercostal muscles that get so tight in the winter months. Breathing into the hip as well, so feeling the fascia sort of releasing there. Okay, then again, if we bring the fingertips onto the shoulder, so right fingertips to the top of the right shoulder, and create those circles here with the elbow, so nice and slow. Good, and then bringing the hand down, pressing into the floor to bring ourselves back up. So I want us to just sit for a minute before we come into the next position. So any kind of seated position that works for you. And closing the eyes, and let's just breathe and pay attention to what we've created so far with our practice. So just notice the quality of your breath now. Notice any feeling of space that you've created in your upper back. And then opening the eyes, roll the shoulders if you need a sip of drink or anything like that. And then we're going to come into our next pose. So we're going to come into a forward fold, but we're going to bring a shoulder opener into it as well. So let's clear the mat so that we can restart. Now what you might want, we're going to have the legs extended in front of us, okay? So what you might want is something underneath the knees. The legs can be straight-ish, or you can bend them a lot, but make sure you support yourself doing that. We're then going to take a bolster or a stack of pillows onto the legs. Okay, so it's resting on the top. And then from there, we're going to take our block between our hands. We're going to bring so this is where you have to adjust things if you can't come far forward. So bringing bolster up as high as you need it, elbows onto the bolster. And we're starting to bring the block in towards the head as we drop the head down. Now you might find after a few breaths in this position, particularly if you're really consciously lifting up and out of your lower back, that you can start to move the props further down the legs and work a little bit deeper into the shoulders. Deep breaths. Really breathing here into the back of your heart, the space between your shoulders. We've got a visitor. So let's go for 3 more breaths. And then releasing and coming out of that position. So hopefully you'll still be able to see me now Bowie has decided to come and join us. So move this so I can keep an eye on the time. All right, so we're going to come back into that seated position. It does not have to be a cross-legged position. It's just a position where you can sit comfortably. Feel free to sit on a blanket if that is helpful for your hips. And then what we're going to do is, hopefully you can see enough of what I'm doing to be able to follow along. So we're going to place if I mirror you, left hand behind us. Okay, we're going to inhale and extend the right arm up towards the ceiling, and then as we exhale we're going to twist. So the right hand is going to rest on the left knee, and we're going to twist the body looking over the left shoulder. Now breathing into the belly as best as you can here, even though we're twisted. Try and keep a softness around the shoulders as best as you can. Keeping the jaw relaxed, the forehead relaxed. Okay, and then allow yourself to uncurl back to center. Okay, this time the right hand moves behind us. We're going to inhale the left arm up, and then exhale, twisting, looking over the right shoulder. Again, try and breathe into the belly as much as you can here. And then back through center, and we'll roll the shoulders. Good. Okay, from here, we're going to come and take a child's pose. Okay, so depending on how your back is feeling, you can do this with or without props. So you're going to come to the back of the mat-ish, and you're going to bring the knees as wide as feels comfortable for you. And then you can simply just come into a sort of traditional child's pose where you're bringing yourself all the way down. Or, of course, use your props. So you can use your bolster in front, you can use, your stack of cushions, and then bring yourself forward and the head will turn to the side. Closing the eyes as we breathe nice and deeply into the back of the body here. Perhaps giving the hips a little bit of a rock from side to side. Okay, slowly starting to bring ourselves out of child's pose. Well done. Okay, from here, moving the props off to the side, and then we're going to come down into Shavasana, and then from there we're going to come into after we've done Shavasana and sort of rested and reset, we're going to then come into a meditation as part of our practice to do with the spring equinox. Okay, so I invite you to come and lie down in a position that you can be really, really relaxed and comfortable. So think about blankets, think about support for behind the knees. If you've got an eye pillow that you can use here to really let yourself go inwards, or just placing a blanket over the eyes. And then I will try and maneuver myself over the wall so that I can come and guide this meditation. Yes. Yeah, that works. Here we go. Make sure I'm not cutting my head off. There. Okay, so once you're lying down on your back, just arranging yourself into a position that feels really comfortable. Give everything a little wriggle to make sure that you're finding that place of neutral. So give the shoulders a shuffle, maybe take the head from side to side. Good. Taking a nice deep breath in together, in through the nose. And a big audible exhale out the mouth. Doing a couple of those. And then we just move into a place now of letting the breath take care of itself. So we allow now in Shavasana all the goodness of our practice, all the little changes that we've made with each and every pose to settle and sink in to our body. And not just our physical body, but our energy body too. So allowing yourself to drop into this state of rest. And if you need something for the mind to focus on, allowing the mind to rest on the rhythm of the breath. So we're going to turn our awareness now to the season of spring, which began at Imbolc and is then established at the spring equinox, which is middle spring. So until we get to the equinox and that established spring, we're still, as we've talked about, in that mutable energy, the in-between of the last bits of winter. But what we can really start to connect with at the spring equinox is fully and wholeheartedly welcoming in the season of spring. The longer days, the warmth, life returning to the land, the flowers, the green, the bird song which returns, thinking of all the insects that arrive or re-emerge in spring. And I want you to just let yourself immerse yourself in those qualities of spring and what you're looking forward to or welcoming in. So perhaps thinking of your own garden if you have a garden, or thinking of your local landscape and the things that you love to connect with in spring. Perhaps you have particular things that you're going to do over the coming months, and let yourself think about those and bless those experiences, manifesting them into being. The symbology of the spring equinox is all to do with the sense of rebirth and renewal, new life returning, a new growth cycle, which is why we have the imagery of the eggs at this time of year. Perhaps there is something within you that is wanting to be reborn, parts of you that you want to leave behind as you step in to your spring self. So calling in that energy, calling in that sense of renewal. And feel as if with every inhale, you are bringing that into your life, into your being, into your body. Breathing in the blossom and the flowers of spring, the joy and hope of new life beginning and life returning to the land. The way that the sunlight now nourishes these shoots and buds, and feeling about or thinking about how you too can be nourished by this return of the light. Bringing our hands back to rest, one hand to heart, one hand to belly. Connecting to yourself, to your center. Feeling yourself resting in your center after this beautiful practice, this time that you have gifted to yourself. Knowing that you can come back to this practice as many times as you like or need throughout the month of March. It is here for you. I really hope you have enjoyed this practice, and I will see you in the next video. Okay, thank you everybody.